Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Denmark 101. Today it is a beautiful, very late summer day, and even though it's leaning towards fall, it was perfect beach weather. And so that brings to mind a topic that has been asked for in various capacities. Now previously I already covered in a previous episode of Denmark 101, Danes and the topic of nudity, reputation for being fairly shameless, for being fairly open, for having wonderfully relaxed and natural relationships with the male and female body. But today, let's talk specifically about beach culture and beach nudity and boobs. And also looking at the listen and view counts on Denmark 101, it seems to be a topic you guys are strangely fascinated by. But one of the things that, as an American, Europe has always been a little bit famous for is toplessness on beaches. Now, in many areas in the U.S., this is highly taboo. Of course, it's commonplace to talk and make the comparison that you can kill 1,000 people in an action movie, but heaven forbid you show a little bit of boob, the rating has to go up and everything gets censored. American beaches are not that different. Of course, you could get in a fist fight, or you could have all sorts of crazy things on a beach, and heaven forbid someone actually shows a little toplessness or something like that. There's hell to pay, maybe legal ramifications. Now, where this is interesting, of course, is fact versus fiction, and then how that has changed over time within Europe. Of course, in many countries, depending on the country, there has definitely been a much more open mentality, much more open approach to beach nudity, especially beach nudity when it comes to topless nudity for women. Now, in Denmark as well, there is a very healthy relationship with bodies. You get a lot of co-ed nudity in different situations, or mixed gender nudity, or same gender in changing rooms, places along those lines. So when it comes to the beach, there's always an interesting question of where is toplessness on Danish beaches, and even male nudity, I suppose we should also include that. And then how is that changing over time? And what was interesting is during the last beach trip, there are certain beaches around Copenhagen, and I suspect around Denmark in general, that have very different personalities. So if you go to some beaches, they're very kind of traditional, historically ethnic Danes. Others have a lot of foreigners. Others have a blend. Others have recent arrivals in Denmark within the last, let's say, generation. That's not that recent, but we'll go with that. So you get this big blend, and different beaches have different personalities, and of course that brings with it different cultural clashes as well. We also have a lot of mixed messages because you have so much not Western, but so much American culture and American and British cultural messaging that then comes to Denmark, that it's kind of impossible for that not to have some sort of cultural impact, especially when it comes to questions of modesty or questions of where those lines should be drawn surrounding nudity, and if it should be legislated, if it should be covered. The topic of breastfeeding in public, for example, is always a hot topic that flares up periodically. And as we get all of these messages, and especially because there's been so many more conservative messages in the media over the last, say, 20, 30 years, I know within my generation and some of the younger generations, it is far less common that you would then go to the beach and you would be nude, or you would go to the pool and you would be exposed, or even, as I talked about in some of my previous videos, even change around other people. So we have this level of isolation. So it was quite interesting going to the Danish beach recently, Amagerstrand, which is a major beach that typically actually has quite a few foreigners, and seeing that not only was it much more in line with, in my opinion, how a beach should be. Everybody relaxing and enjoying as much sun as possible, avoiding tan lines, being topless or in their boxers or swimsuits or whatever they're comfortable in. But you saw a wide diversity, actually, a surprisingly wide diversity of age groups that were sunbathing topless, or men that were in their boxers, or some young children that were running around nude. And I think that was something that was actually really, really nice to see, because personally, especially after coming from Arizona, where everything is so locked down and so unhealthy and everything becomes so uncomfortable, and you're not familiar with what the body looks like, you're not familiar and comfortable in your own skin with your own body, you're not sure how to interact with other people your age, all those different things. Heaven forbid, then you have messages about different body types, or the elderly, or young people that everybody needs to cover up. So it was actually very, very refreshing to see that there was this wide spectrum, from thin and fit to elderly, or to young and voluptuous, to young and fit, all of these different things, as well as families also being able to be relaxed, all there, all in a very healthy and organic sort of way. And I think in the past that there have been a number of situations where going to these same beaches, where it felt like it was going in the opposite direction. So I'm not sure what that was. If it was a one-off day, if it's a trend moving in that direction, if it's the composition of the beach, and if it's one of those things where it's still culturally acceptable, and it's something that I think many people are open to and okay with, but it's that thing where it's uncomfortable to be the first person. So if you show up at the beach and there's 5 people that have decided, I'm going to sunbathe in my boxers, or I'm going to sunbathe topless, then it's contagious, and everybody else says, oh, okay, well that's fine, then we'll do that. Or if it is, maybe if there is a pushback now towards more healthy body acceptance, more healthy body images, which then means that you do kind of move back towards a more comfortable beach culture, and I say more comfortable in that context, but that's because the human body is beautiful, right? So I guess that all boils down to, is there still nudity in various capacities on Danish beaches, in Danish bathhouses? And there are Danish bathhouses. It's common to go and refresh in the bathhouse or the sauna, and then at times actually completely nude, then walk out for a dip in the ocean. That's a little bit different than sunbathing. That's more activity based. And at the bathhouses, especially around Copenhagen, you do also have fully enclosed areas that are divided by gender. And so there you can go sunbathe privately if you're concerned about wandering eyes, or if there are people that perhaps don't understand, or are violating the trust, because I think there is something fundamental about that, right? Where you have a large level of social norms and social trust inherent in sunbathing partially nude, or in some nude capacity, or being in that capacity at a beach. And again, these aren't nude beaches, these aren't fully nude beaches, but there are more nude areas. And so if you are a foreigner that is going to a Danish beach that is fairly well trafficked, then do be prepared, and of course be very respectful. What's your take? When you go to the beach, top off, pants off, shorts on, underwear, boxers, Speedo, longboard, t-shirt even. It's very different, right? You compare different cultures. There are cultures that will only go to the beach in a t-shirt, or fully covered, or that don't want the tan, that love the tan lines, you name it. So share your experiences, and remember, be respectful and embrace the beauty of your personal identity. As always, thank you so much for subscribing. This was another episode of Denmark 101. Love your feedback, love your comments, and please don't forget to share.